Shalom, shalom, shalom. We're going to deep dive here into idolatry. What is worship and does it matter? You know, the uh, the Pfizer Bowl just happened, and people think that it wasn't idolatry, that it's okay to play a game that was made in Babylon. Interesting that Ubisoft is coming up for that. Uh, 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 uh. Walter Camp. Walter Camp was one of the most powerful members of the Skull and Bones secret society. Like that doesn't matter though, right? You're just tossing a ball around. If that's all you're doing, that's fine. But we all know the professional scripted bootball games are more than just throwing a ball around. We all know that, and the way I dealt with this was through a little self reflection, like going back and really thinking about things like, Father, am I in idolatry? Is there something I've put above you? So we're going to discuss, like, really deep dive into the things, because there are some confusion I've seen with people thinking because the Torah doesn't explicitly say something, then it's okay to do. Take an example of this, and I remember a brother that used to be in our group. He said, there's something wrong with pornography. Well, the Torah doesn't explicitly say that. This is one of the things. You come out of the New Testament and you see that J-Man say, it is a sin to look on a woman with lust. It's equal to the sin of adultery. Well, is that true? By explicitly looking at the Torah, does the Torah explicitly say that if you look on a woman and have a desire in your heart to be with her, that you've committed the sin of adultery? No, it doesn't explicitly say that. And this is the trap they fall into, because they have just committed a different sin, coveting. And this is like, when I was still a follower of J-Man, I remember, let's read the commandment first. You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife. So, how do they created this loophole? Because, it's man's desire to look on a woman and say that's a really attractive woman. Then you take it to the next step. I would love for that woman to be with me. This is what David did. Before David committed the actual act of adultery, he coveted for Bathsheba to be with him. Now, this is the loophole I heard, and I've even heard some Torah keepers say this. It's okay if this neighbor is not someone's wife. Okay, and why is that okay? Can't you control your desire? You have no self-control? Let's look at another passage. Oh, of course, where is that at? Here we go. Leviticus 18, there's a bunch of these. None of you shall approach any that is near of kin to him, uncover their nakedness. I am Yehovah. The nakedness of thy father, the nakedness of thy mother, shalt thou now uncover. She is thy mother, thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. The nakedness of thy father's wife shall not uncover. It is thy father's nakedness. The nakedness of thy sister, thy daughter, thy father, thy daughter of thy mother, whether she is born at home or born abroad, even their nakedness thou shalt not uncover. The nakedness of thy son's daughter, and the daughter's daughter, even the nakedness thou shalt not uncover. For there is thine own nakedness, and the nakedness of thy father's wife's daughter, begotten of thy father. She is thy sister, and thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's sister. She is thy father's near kinswoman. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy mother's sister, for she is thy mother's kinswoman. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's brother. Thou shalt approach to his wife. She is thine aunt. See, there is no explicit command that you shall not look on a young maiden, have desires in your heart, even if you're unmarried, and say that's okay because that young maiden is not married. So it's okay. I'm not coveting. You just revealed her nakedness. You think that's okay? You think Father above Yahweh, Yehovah, is really okay with you uncovering the nakedness of this young woman, even in your mind? You think that's really okay? Let's go back and see how serious it is that Yehovah wants you covered. This is one of the problems with Solomon's temple. An altar of earth thou shalt make unto me, and shalt sacrifice thereon thy burnt offerings, and thy peace offerings, thy sheep and thine oxen. In all places where I record my name, I will come unto thee, and I will bless thee. And if thou wilt make an altar of stone, thou shalt not build it of hewn stone, for if thou lift thy tool upon it, thou hast polluted it. Neither shalt thou go up steps into mine altar, that thy nakedness not be discovered thereon. You see how serious this is? There's no way that you can come away really meditating on Torah day and night, that any sort of pornography is okay, that any sort of you desiring for something of a woman that is not yours, but she's not a wife, so it's okay. No, it's not. No, it's not. You're letting your heart control your mind. You have no self-control. Look at Solomon. Actually, let's go back to David. There's a moment where Michal reveals that David had done something abominable. Now, we just read Exodus 20, right? And this is, again, the importance of the covering. And he apportioned to all the people, to all the multitude of Israel, both to the men and women, a cake of bread and one of the dates, and one of the raisins to each one. Then all the people went to his house. But David returned to bless his household. And Michal, the daughter of Shaul, came out to meet David and said, how the king has glorified himself today. He uncovered himself, and he did. He was naked today in the eyes of his servants. Maids as one of the world's ones shamelessly uncovers himself. He was naked before the most holy of holies, the tabernacle, the Ark of the Covenant, dancing in front of it, revealing his nakedness, which the Torah explicitly forbids. And what does David say? So David said to Michal, it was before Yehovah who chose me above your father and above all his house, to appoint me ruler over the people of Yehovah, over Israel. Therefore, I will celebrate before Yehovah. And this is just like what we read in the golden calf incident, right? Exodus 32. Then the people saw that Moses delayed to come down from the mountain, so the people assembled about Aaron and said to him, arise, make us Elohim who will go before us. See this, and we'll get into this when we get to the study, that the Elohim were not replacing Creator Yehovah. They were additions. And this is why, it uses correctly here the lowercase form gods. Elohim, chief rulers, princes. They weren't the creator who will go before us. As for this Moses, the man who brought us up from the land of Egypt, we do not know what has become of him. See, the golden calf was not a replacement for Yahweh. It was a replacement for Moses. And Aaron said, tear off the gold rings which are in the ears of your wives, your sons and your daughters, and bring them to me. Then all the people tore off the gold rings which were in their ears and brought them to Aaron. And he took this from their hand and fashioned it with the graving tool, made it into a molten calf. And they said, these are your Elohim, again, plural, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt. See, this is not a replacement for Yahweh. They're replacing Moses because Moses was up on the mountain. And even this is the context. Moses delayed to come down from the mountain. So their bellies desiring something because they rejected the voice of Yahweh back in Exodus 20. They said, you speak for us. But now Moses, their chief ruler, their Elohim, is delayed in coming back to them to deliver what Yahweh has said. So they fashion golden calf to replace Moses. And Aaron looked and built an altar before it, and Aaron made a proclamation, tomorrow shall be a feast to Yahweh. This is the confusion people make. Look, they're calling the golden calf Yahweh. No, they're not. The golden calf is a replacement Elohim for Moses. So the next day they rose early and offered burnt offerings, brought peace offerings, and the people sat down to eat and to drink and rose up to play. They loved their play. They played their games and played their games, and they were all enjoying the time, worshiping their idol in addition to Yahweh, replacing Moses. Then Yahweh spoke to Moses, go down at once for the people whom you brought up from the land of Egypt. See, this is key. Yahweh is telling us. What did they say? These are your Elohim, O Israel, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt. The golden calf was a replacement for Moses. They have corrupted themselves through their play, through their idolatry, by replacing the servant Moses with the image of the golden calf. Now, I'm not saying you should worship Moses. That's not the point. They didn't have their Elohim, their chief ruler, that they chose because they rejected the voice of Yah. So they replaced him with a golden calf. What is an idol and what is worship? There's much confusion about these issues. I know this is what I've seen with talking about these things and seeing the absolute drama over it. It's ridiculous. Where should your heart be? Should our heart be in Babylon? I'm not saying there should never be a time of relaxation. Work has its place, relaxation has its place, but if relaxation becomes a point where you're defending the relaxation over defending Yah, you have to ask where your heart is. And this is why I went into my heart when I was still a Christian and Messianic. Christians and Messianics don't view the image, which is Colossians 1:15, who is not God, and this is just like Moses, Revelation 3:2, as their idol, even though he was made in the likeness, Romans 8:3, of sinful flesh. But their view of idolatry is anything that takes the place of God alone, all of them completely missing the irony, and I missed this as well, through their worship of Jesu. Christians and Messianics' view of worship is narrower, and they view worship, and we'll get to this in part 2, what worship really is as almost exclusively singing songs. They also make false connections to the Sabbath being about worship. I've heard this so many times when I was coming to the truth of the Sabbath. I can worship God any day of the week. Nothing in the fourth commandment says anything about worship. You work 6 days and rest one. It's about rest. And in that rest, you do worship Yahweh by showing your reverence to his commandments. Along with Jesu being the rest is one of the most ridiculous statements in Christianity. Does an idol have to be a representation or replacement of Yahweh the Creator? And we just went through this in the golden calf. The golden calf was not a representation of Yahweh. It was a replacement for Moses. And it's the same thing with J-Man in the New Testament. I mean, even in Acts, they go to that passage. I don't remember the passage in Acts now, unfortunately. So let's go to Deuteronomy 18. I will raise up a prophet for you. Look at the cross references. That is not cross reference to Acts. That's awesome. There we go. Acts 3:22 and 3:23. And Moses said to the Lord God, I will raise up a prophet for you. So they're saying, J-Man is the replacement for Moses. This is what the New Testament is teaching. The New Testament does not teach he's a replacement for the Creator. This came later with Tertullian in the 3rd century. This is not what the New Testament teaches. He was the replacement for Moses. That you can go to your intermediary, that's 1 John 2, mediator, right? But Yah wants us to hear his voice. He doesn't want it. He never wanted you to go through Moses. And this is the whole point to understand with Deuteronomy 18:15-19. The reason this was prophesied over that wicked and corrupt generation is because they refused to hear the voice of Yah. They refused. They just said, I will not hear it. I will die. And that's what you see in verse 16 here, repeating what they heard on Mount Sinai, or stated. I refuse to hear it. So what happens? They made Moses their Elohim, their chief ruler. And the golden calf was not a representation of Creator Yehovah. It was a representation of Moses. And this is the same thing of, idol J-Man. He's not in the New Testament as a replacement for the Creator, but a replacement for Moses, the new Moses, to come so you do not have to hear the voice of Yah lest you die. And as I was starting to break free of pornography myself, and yes, that is a form of idolatry. It is wicked. It had a stranglehold on me. I prayed and fasted and heard Yah use scripture to tell me to destroy my idol, my video game system. So I did. I threw it away, the game, the controllers, everything. And when I did that, the desire to look on those pictures vanished, went away. So now some Torah-only literalists will say I'm overreaching, that a video game or any form of entertainment cannot possibly be an idol, as it is not supernatural. This is not a correct interpretation. It's about your heart. See, the Torah was never meant to be read completely literal. And this is the same problem, the Talmudists have, is they interpret things super literal. Like the whole, do not eat a goat boiled in its mother's milk. So then they will not avoid eating any milk product with any bovine product, and goat, beef, doesn't matter. Cheeseburgers, pizzas are a sin because you're eating the dairy product with the beef product. But that's not what the command implied. And it's the same with, the tefillin, right? They wake up in the morning and put immediately on the box. And what does the box have in it? It has the passages from Deuteronomy 6 about the phylacteries, which is also in Exodus 12 and Deuteronomy 11. Exodus 13, sorry, 13:9. So these three passages all say, "You will bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be phylacteries between your eyes." So the Talmudist, the literalist interpretation of this is to literally strap a box to your head that, we see right here, right? So they take this box and strap it to their head, say, "I'm obeying Torah." But is the Torah really telling you to strap scripture to your head in a box? Is that really what Yah meant? Let's read the context to really get this. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh is our Elohim, and Yahweh is one. Ikad, in this context, means one, not unity. You shall love Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. These words which I am commanding you today shall be on your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your sons, shall speak of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. You shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as phylacteries between your eyes. So you see, is the context supporting what they're doing? You shall write them on the doorpost of your house and on your gates. This is also, they have the mezuzah that they put on their door as a sign of obedience. And the mezuzah has what in it? Deuteronomy 6:4-9. Because this is what the commandment says, to put the command on your door. But that's not what it means. The implicit commandment is about meditation. And this is what we see in Joshua. And I know that's not Torah. I know. But, you're going to have to bear with me here because, the books of Genesis, the books of Joshua, the history, it's not instructions, but it does give us a layer of understanding. Be strong and courageous, for you shall cause this people to inherit the land which I swore to their fathers to give them. Only be strong and very courageous, to be careful to do according to do. That's your hand, right? Do, action, the hand. To all the Torah which Moses my servant commanded. Do not turn aside from it to the right or the left, so that you may be prosperous wherever you go. And this book of the Torah shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night. See, this is the mind. Strapping the box of Torah to your head. No, meditate on all of the mitzvah day and night. That's what is implied in Deuteronomy 6:4-9. But it's Joshua who reveals the explicit nature of what that means. Joshua never says to strap a box to your head in order to meditate on it. He tells us the Torah is to be meditated on day and night. So we look again at like Deuteronomy 6, right? And it says, you shall bind them as a sign on your hands, and they shall be phylacteries between your eyes. So as you go out in the world, Torah should be here in your thoughts. Torah should be here in your actions. Torah should be on your doorpost. So as you go out of your home, you remember to obey the commands. Strapping a box to your head doesn't make you righteous. You're just taking something Father is speaking in spiritual terms and made it physical. Anything can become an idol, though, right? And this is what I did. My heart was not fully sold out for Yah because I wanted to be entertained. I needed distraction. Who is our Elohim? Exodus 20:1-3. Then El spoke to all these words, saying, I am Yahweh your El, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. You shall have no other Elohim before me. And you see, they immediately sinned because they chose Moses as their Elohim. And we see this even warned about in the history again. And this is why I think these books are so important. In 1 Samuel 8, that all the elders gathered together and came to Samuel at Ramah. And they said, "Behold, you have grown old, and your sons do not walk in your ways." Now, I find this interesting that Samuel did not raise his sons up to walk in the ways of Yahweh. It's a very interesting statement. Now, appoint a king. See, they want an Elohim to come along and meditate with them. Not just a high priest, but a king, a man to stand the gap so that they do not have to hear the voice of Yahweh again and again. But the thing was evil in the sight of Samuel when they said, "Give us a king to judge us." And Samuel prayed to Yahweh. Then Yahweh said to Samuel, "Listen to the voice of the people in regard to all that they say to you, for they have not rejected you, but they have rejected me from being king over them." The same thing is true of them wanting to only hear the voice of Moses. They rejected Yahweh. They rejected his voice. The idea of other Elohim doesn't mean beings are supernatural or that they were even replacements for the Creator. They coexisted. And this is what we see in Exodus 32. The golden calf, as a replacement for Moses, coexisted with Yahweh. He was below the Creator. He was not a replacement for the Creator. This is the whole point of this is what the early Christians did. Jesu, to them, was not the Creator, El. He was their Savior, Elohim, their Redeemer, the one to bring them out of the land of Egypt. Colossians 1:15, who is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of all creation. The text is clear. Paul did not worship Jesu as the Creator, but he worshipped him as co-redeemer. Jesu did not replace Yahweh. He was an addition to him. And you see this throughout the New Testament. Jesu also, in John 14:1, "Do not let your heart be troubled. Believe in God. Believe also in me." Do you see it? The idol Jesu did not replace belief in God. He is an addition to the Godhead. I also think that this text is clear. Even tells us they didn't believe Jesu was supernatural, but his comings and goings were proven by their view of God. Acts 2:22, "Men of Israel, listen to these words. Jesu the Nazarene, a man attested to you by God with miracles, wonders, and signs." See, they're trying to replace Moses, which God did through him in your midst, just as you yourselves know. Jesu was what? A man. The base of his authority on this false attestation by the Creator, God, not that Jesus was testifying of himself as the Creator. That happened later on with Tertullian and other men. Solomon also ran. 1 Kings 3:3. "And Solomon loved Yahweh, walking in the statutes of his father David, except he sacrificed and burned incense on the high places." And here is more evidence of that from Tanakh. Solomon loved Yahweh, but his heart was not fully sold out for Yahweh. He went to the high places and sacrificed and burned incense on their high places. This is what I was doing with my video games. And yes, I still do think video games are a sin. And we're really going to dig into that and what many others do with entertainment. You see, the Torah, it makes these great explicit statements for those walking in the wilderness. And Yahweh spoke to me, "You have circled this mountain long enough. Now turn north and command the people, you are going to pass through the territory of your brothers, the sons of Esau, who live in Seir, and they will be afraid of you. So be very careful. Do not provoke them, for I will not give you any of their land, not even as little as a footstep, because I have given Mount Seir to Esau as a possession. You shall buy food from them with the money so that you may eat, and you may also bargain with them for water, with the money that you drink. For Yahweh, your Elohim, has blessed you in all the work of your hand. He has known your wanderings through his great wilderness. These 40 years, Yahweh, your Elohim, has been with you, and you lacked nothing. So, why would they then go to the Edomites and buy idols? Things that entertained and distracted the Edomites. Why would they go to Edomites and watch their games? Watch them play before their Elohim. That's entertainment. This is the etymology of entertain. Origin and meaning of entertain. Late 15th century. To keep up, maintain, to keep someone in a certain frame of mind. This is the goal with entertainment. Now, I'm not saying, again, that you can't occasionally have a distraction. You know, I like to watch Little House on the Prairie with my family, but there are definitely things in there that, make me question how much longer I should be doing that. Because there are things that are definitely not of Yah. I want to have my heart fully sold out to Yah. I don't want a certain frame of mind from the creator of this show to become my frame of mind. That's the goal. I remember like 10, 12 years ago when I went to these sports games, you could feel the spiritual energy there, the frame of mind of worshiping these men. It's what it is. You're raising your hands up for them, cheering them on, stomping your feet. It's worship. From the old French entraîneur, hold together to stick together to support. See, this is all related, right? You're sticking together with the team. You're supporting them. Among them to hold, to sin, to stretch. We can learn much by studying the origin of words. The goal of all mass delusion, the entertainment industry, is to maintain a certain frame of mind. Do you really think this Babylonian matrix, things aren't specifically made to build up our edification, are going to draw us closer to Yah? My idolatry of video games began with my desire to maintain a certain frame of mind. I wanted to be distracted from the pain of my past. My frame of mind was not Yah, was not seeking Him for healing. Are you not in amusement? Again, words matter. Amuse, a verb, late 15th century, also from the French origin, by the way, to divert attention, to beguile, to delude.
Listen up, buddy. If you don't want to take my word for it, here's what Sleepy Joe tweeted out right after the game. Seriously? Do y'all want me to go on a rampage and rant? What more do you need to see? I want you to think about this. Some random Joe Schmo, I'm talking about myself by the way, made a video 4 days ago telling you detail by detail exactly what was going to happen in this ballgame. The video I made 4 days ago isn't me predicting the future. It's not me knowing something that you guys don't know. It's just acknowledging the cold hard facts about living in the United States and the cold hard facts about the NFL.
Maybe I should put that on the front of mine too.
Here's what I do think we're going to see happen. I think the 49ers, they're going to jump out all over them. I expect to see some storybook ending where the 49ers are leading all game, and then Patrick Mahomes, he has some all-time legacy drives in the third quarter and in the fourth quarter. It just seems like the 49ers are going to run all over them in the first half. Purdy's going to have a couple touchdowns, and then boom, out of nowhere, the Chiefs catch fire. I expect to see some crazy tip passes like in the Lions versus the 49ers game. you're gonna see craziness. It's a Super Bowl. You almost gotta feel like it's written in the script somewhere that 3 to 4 mind-blowing plays are gonna happen. And I expect the Chiefs to win this game in crazy comeback fashion. Why do I think that's gonna happen? Because it's good for the narrative, and also it's good for the longevity of the NFL. You see, this is something a lot of people aren't talking about. The NFL and the college game, just any sport in general, it thrives when you have a villain. Ironically enough, have you noticed? The Patriots dynasty ended and then a new one started right after. The NFL needs dynasties because it keeps casuals tuning in so they can hate watch and root against somebody. Most people tuning into this game don't even know jack squiddly crap about the 49ers. But guess what? Here's what they do know. The Chiefs got Patrick Mahomes. They got the best quarterback in the NFL. So, that guy's the best. I'm rooting against them. It would be extremely beneficial for the NFL to have the Chiefs to go out here and win this game. I'm telling you. And I got to believe in the script, man. The script tells us that the Chiefs need to and are going to win this game. So that's what I'm going with. And here's the thing about all this. As I've gotten older and slightly matured a little bit, I've learned this, and you'll learn this as well. Some things in life, they're inevitable, and there's nothing you can do about it. And this right here is one of those situations. The modern version of the NFL is nothing but pure entertainment. Like the person said in one of the comments, it's the WWE. You can run from it, you can hide from it, you can do whatever you want, but destiny is always bound to happen. Hey man, no need to call me a hero. No need whatsoever to call me a hero. I'm just doing my job. That video clip I just showed you guys, that is coming from a video we posted 4 days ago on the channel. You can go check it out for yourself. The title of it is, The Super Bowl Script is Inevitable. And I'm going to say this one more time for the people in the back. That was 4 days ago. Fast forward time to our current date. Here we are, and everything I said was going to happen, or everything I thought was going to happen, it did. To make a long story short here, you saw the game. It just ended. 49ers jumped out on them early, and Patrick Mahomes had a crazy comeback, and there was also a bunch of crazy plays that happened as well that we'll get to in just a second. A little foreshadowing here. But first things first, though, I do want to throw this in there because sometimes I forget to do it. I always like to congratulate my winners because you won the game. It's not easy winning the Super Bowl. Not easy at all. When it comes to football in general, that is at the totem pole. That is at the highest of highs, winning the Super Bowl. So let's do that real quick. Clap it up to the Chiefs. I know a lot of us, we were not rooting for the Chiefs, but they went out there, they took it, they won the game. Patrick Mahomes continues to prove that he is already, early on in his career, he's one of the greatest talked about. Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs, but was just blessed with the ability to play football. That's it. Oh, crap. Hold on. You know,
Come on. Really? Are you not amused? The script played out. The Chiefs won. Like, you can say it's not scripted all you want. Okay. But it was clearly scripted. I hate to tell you that, but it was clearly scripted. They played the same script they did in 2020. The Chiefs and the 49ers. The Chiefs won. And then we had... What happened? What do you think is going to happen next? I mean, you guys are not paying attention to what you should be paying attention to. The fisher of men that steals hearts and minds. Mark 1:17, and Jesus said to them, "Follow me, and I will make you become fishers of men." Without the context, we think this is a good thing to be caught in the net of the fisher of men. After all, he saved us from being slaves to sin, right? Just like Moses again saved them from Egypt. Except we then look up and credit the image of God, Moses, with our salvation. Oops, without salvation. Whoopsie. This is what Israel did with the golden calf. The golden calf did not replace Yahweh, and I just went through that. It was an addition to Yahweh. It replaced Moses. They didn't think he was the creator. They believed he was the redeemer, which is what the calf represented in Mitzrayim. Not every Elohim, God of the pantheon of pagans, is the creator. Many of them are created, and they acknowledge this. Coming for your heart. Back to Deuteronomy 6:4. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh our Elohim is one. Yahweh is one. You shall love Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart. All of it. This is why reflection is so important. Reflection is all of my heart dedicated to Yahweh. Every single square inch. Is it all truly sold out for Yehovah? Is all of my soul really founded only in Yehovah? And this is crucial. This is why the New Testament uses what? Love. What led Solomon to worship additional Elohim beside Yehovah? That he loved Yehovah, except he went to the high places to also worship Baal, Molech, and every other pagan deity. 1 Kings 11:1. Now King Solomon loved many foreign women, along with the daughter of Pharaoh, the Moabite, the Ammonite, the Edomite, the Sidonian, and Hittite women. They used the power of love to draw Solomon to worship their idols, the work of men's hands. We have to really be humble. You have to really, really be humble. To like, just ask yourself. I say these things and they bring offense, right? Football's an idol. Video games are an idol. Movies are an idol. And you're like, you're just making up things that aren't in Torah. Okay. Is your heart saying that? Is your heart saying that? We don't know our hearts. This is something I remember explicitly dealing with when some of our friends fell away from Torah after abandoning the New Testament. They begin to eat the words of skeptics, atheists, agnostics. Those words tasted good to them because their heart was not fully committed to Yehovah. The same is true of us. We have to know where our heart is. We may not know. We are still in idolatry, especially if we're taking the strictly literalist, legalist interpretation of Torah. We may miss the forest for the trees. And here's an example of that from Torah. Father showed this to me yesterday. Like, it's so powerful to understand. You can't go and eat everything you want. There's a commandment against eating too much, of being a glutton. This is something I've been working on so hard with Father to help me with. I don't want to let my belly control me, that I make my belly an Elohim. Then they shall say to the elders of the city, this son of ours is stubborn and rebellious. He will not listen to our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard. Now, does Torah explicitly say it's a sin to be a glutton? It actually doesn't. Does Torah say it's a sin to be a drunkard? Nope. Yet here they are, coming to the elders of the city, stating the rebellion is from his gluttony and his drunkenness. Before this command was given about the rebellious son, and his rebellion being defined by being a drunkard and a glutton, where did Torah explicitly tell us that gluttony and drunkenness is a sin? And there are absolutely implied commands within Torah, and they are missed with a strict literalist interpretation. It is a sin to overeat. It is. It is a sin to eat what Yehovah calls unclean. That should be obvious. That's Leviticus 11, right? What Americans call junk food. Now there are clean versions of this that you can eat in moderation. Like, I still enjoy potato chips and my French onion dip from Daisy, which is clean. It doesn't have natural flavorings, which is oftentimes a beaver's butthole. Seriously, it doesn't have things that like lard. These are made from clean ingredients and enjoyed in moderation. I don't see a problem with it. You're not letting your belly control you with its appetites and its desires. What Americans call junk food, they love their junk food. They love it. Now there are clean versions of this, and I've talked about this, Father's really trying to help me here. I cut out anything that is not a pure ingredient. Like, I'm trying to find like rice, right? Because, I love to have my rice and my beef together. So you look at the ingredients of rice, And what do you see? That many packages of just rice are not pure. They're not. So you have to really dig, and sometimes you got to spend a little more money to get what Father calls clean, to avoid these foods that are not good for your body and will cause you to gain weight. Since going to this diet at this, I think it was the middle of December, I've already lost like 15 pounds. This stuff they put in our food and this attitude we get that it's okay to eat these things. It's not. It's not only for Torah, but Torah was made for our protection, right? It actually causes your body to gain weight. You can buy potato chips and they're natural without all the artificial garbage. And the same is true of ice cream. The perfect example of that, strawberry ice cream, right? You would think they use actual strawberries, that it's okay to have in moderation. Oh, no. Natural flavoring, not strawberries, the vanilla flavor and the strawberry flavor of ice creams that are not natural, the cheap ones, is from beaver, unclean animals. And you buy something because you enjoy it. It tastes good, right? And surely Father wouldn't want me to enjoy these things, my belly being filled with a pleasure. Okay. The Torah doesn't explicitly say this, right? But it just implied that gluttony is a sin. So we should dig in and find out why. The rebellious son was rebellious because of his gluttony and his drunkenness. And Torah does not have an explicit command against either. There is no explicit command against gluttony, and there is no explicit command against drunkenness. Gluttony is implicitly revealed, though. Implicitly. And this is what's important. To read to the ruach depth of Torah. Exodus 16:3, and the sons of Israel said to them, would that we had died by the hand of Yahweh in the land of Mitzrayim, when we sat by pots of meat. See, they had meat and bread to the full. And then they went into bondage, into Mitzrayim, right? They said, well, we're free from bondage, but we're hungry. I don't want to be hungry. I want my belly full. That's what they're saying. For you have brought us into the wilderness to put this whole assembly to death with hunger. Now, does Torah say that what they did was wrong? Let me tell you something. How many of those that rose up to play, that complained about their bellies being hungry, entered the promised land? None of them. None of them. They had no self-control. They just followed their heart's desire. They were continually rebelling against Yah and against Moses. They were set free, saw the plagues, saw the Red Sea be divided. They walked through the water, and they still doubted. They still let their bellies' hunger pains control them. Their desires, their belly, that controlled their actions, their words. How many people really have the self-control that if they were in a situation like this, they would not do the same thing? And this is important for you to reflect on. It's for me to reflect on as well. If I was in the wilderness, if I was hungry, would I complain about being hungry? How much self-control do we have? Have we really eliminated our idolatry of self? And yes, that is part of this Babylonian experience we're in. This is what happens when you're in Egypt. You have your birthday parties, your celebrations, your trophies, and now you have participation trophies. It's all idolatry of self. You're doing a good job. Yeah, but you don't praise Yah. You don't thank him. You get hungry and say, I have to eat. I have to fill up my belly. No self-control. That's the same with your sexual desires that we started with. You know, men especially, you have to control your desires. You have to make sure that your heart is fully sold out for Yah. Do you serve your belly or does it serve you? Numbers 11:31-35. Now there went forth a wind from Yahweh, and it brought quail from the sea, and let them fall besides them at the camp, about a day's journey on this side and a day's journey on the other side, all around the camp about 2 cubits over the surface of the ground. And the people spent all day and all night, and all the next day gathered the quail. See the gluttony? It doesn't say it explicitly, but there is implicit gluttony and greed of the belly. So they gathered the quail, who gathered least gathered 10 homers. They spread them out for themselves all around the camp. And while the meat was still between their teeth, before it was chewed, the anger of Yahweh was kindled against the people. Yahweh struck the people with a very severe plague. So the name of the place was called Kibroth Hatavah, because they buried the people who had been greedy. From Kibroth Hatavah, the people set out for Hazeroth, and they remained at Hazeroth. See, the people let their belly become their Elohim. Their belly was an idol. Now, it doesn't say that, but the implicit interpretation is clearly there. They served gluttony. They were gluttons, eating and eating and eating because they did not trust Yahweh to provide the next day. They loved filling their belly more than they loved Yahweh. And there is no direct command against gluttony. None. And I challenge all of you to prove me wrong. There is no direct command against gluttony, against eating what is called junk food. But there are plenty of implied commands and warnings we should heed about this. And related to this is in Genesis as well, which I acknowledge is not instructions. It's not. It's the history. And some of it is allegorical. And it tells us this, teaching us why you should not let your belly be your God. Genesis 25:29-32. And Jacob had cooked stew, and Esau came in from the field, and he was famished. Then Esau said to Jacob, Please give me a swallow from the red stuff, this red stuff, for I am famished. Therefore his name was called Edom. But Jacob said, First sell me your birthright. And Esau said, Behold, I am about to die. What use is the birthright to me? The same thing we see from Israel, right? And I believe this is allegorical and intentional. Have you made your belly an Elohim? Like Esau did not love Yahweh with all his heart. When his belly was going, blah, 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 he said, I bow down and serve you, belly. I need that stew, or else I die. And it's the same thing as the Israelites, as we read in Numbers 11. You know, if you look at Numbers 11, like the whole context, it's really powerful. Now the people came like those who complain of calamity in the ears of Yahweh. And Yahweh heard it, and his anger was kindled. And the fire of Yahweh burned among them and consumed some of the outskirts of the camp. And therefore they cried out to Moses, and Moses prayed to Yahweh, and the fire died out. So the name of the place was called Tavera, because of the fire Yahweh burned among them. And the rabble who were among them had greedy desires, and also the sons of Israel wept again and said, Who will give us meat to eat? You see, once again, complaining about their bellies being empty. I mean, you're going to tell me that they did not sin here? It clearly says they did. And what was their sin? That they couldn't stand their belly being empty. I mean, we are in such thin in this country, and we don't even realize it. I'm going to redo my video on Jonah because there were some things in there I couldn't make it public. But I guarantee you the eclipse that happened in 2017 and is happening in 2 months that is going like this across the nation, it is a warning of judgment coming down. And here you are, like, partaking of Babylonian entertainment. I got to have my mind distracted. Like, my belly is empty. I got to fill it with food. Like, come on. Really? Really? This is what we're going to worry about when judgment is coming on this nation. And you're not even prepared. You're not out there trying to repent, trying to grow your own food, trying to raise chickens. And you think, no, I've got to complain because my belly isn't full of food. I've got to complain because I'm not entertained. I need to be entertained. Yes, entertain me. I want you to be entertained, says Uncle Sam. Join the league. Where's our heart? Is our heart really sold out for Yehovah? I mean, what are we defending is the question, right? Like, what do we spend our time defending? Are we defending looking on women with lust? It's not adultery, right? Are we defending playing a video game? Or are we defending watching an entertaining show that distracts us? Are we defending watching sports and professional actors, football players on TV? Why are you not defending the honor of Yah? Why is that not the focus of your time? Why are you not reflecting? This is the whole point of these, right? The ZZ. Do you know why Yah commanded this? And I recently had an experience, remember in my hand, I talked about this, and it's still red. When I forsook the Torah and went and prepared on the Sabbath for a storm coming, I didn't use the day of preparation. I used the Sabbath to prepare. And Torah doesn't forbid you buying from stores, but it does forbid preparing on the Sabbath. And this includes cooking. Yes, you are not supposed to cook on the Sabbath. You should cook on the day of preparation. And when I started doing this and recognized, I'm not obeying the Sabbath correctly, blessings started to come again. A fellow brother gave us livestock dogs, and all glory to Yah. Our dogs that we lost from our sin were replaced. This walk is serious. It's not for those that are going to complain when their belly becomes empty. It's not for those that complain when they aren't entertained. Are you willing to forsake self for Yah? I'll be back with a part 2, hopefully to get more into worship over idolatry, because that is also an important topic. It's not just singing songs. Worship is in your actions, your very words, and your thoughts. Hallelujah, and let Yah be glorified in everything we do.